Hi, this is the fellow passenger speaking. This is going to be the last episode of my 6-week challenge of making an album. I was talking about having a 7th episode where I would do a little bit of a reflection on how this project went, but I decided I'm just going to bake this into this episode, just making it the last one. We just need to just get this project out of the way. The last episode, number 6, was going to be about packaging. So what I've done, I've come up with a bunch of names for the tracks, and I've also made some cover art and made some, what should we call it? Sleeve notes, perhaps. Well, that's what they intended to be, but they ended up becoming something more of a description of what the album is, if I would ever send this to any form of publication where someone wants to read about an album rather than seeing it. Anyway, I'm just going to start off showing you what the cover art looks like. So I think this is the front. The album is called A16 P.5 NIR. And this is the back, I suppose. It's got the album title and it's got the track titles as well. This may seem a little bit random, and there is a lot of randomness to this, and I just want to talk about how I made this happen. The artwork is made using AI. I'm going to show you the tool that I'm using for this. And you might have come across ChatGPT, which is a good AI service for generating text. However, it becomes quite predictable. I used ChatGPT to generate the sleeve notes. I'll see if I find them somewhere. But coming up with track titles and an album title is just, it just comes up with something that is quite cliche, and I suppose that's actually just how the AI works. It works of, likely things. So therefore, I decided to use a graphic tool to generate the titles. So I'm using this tool called PlaygroundAI, and to generate the track titles, I actually generated this image. Just saying album title, track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I wanted to both generate the titles themselves, but also the sort of typography of the set. And as you can see here, there's a whole bunch of variations of that. This is the one I ended up going for. I'm going to try to sort of recreate something similar so you can just get the idea. And you can see different variations on the same theme. And here again, you can see variations on the cover art. And then I took the ones that I chosen to be the better ones, and then I finished them in Photoshop, combining the typography and adjusting anything that I wanted to adjust. I'm going to show you a bit how PlaygroundAI works. I know this is not very music related, but if you go to PlaygroundAI.com, it's free to sign up, and if you click Get Started, you can just click log in with your Google account. There's no sign up required to get started. Sorry, my internet's a bit slow. Here you can set the initial resolution. I am going to set it to 1024 by 1024. It's fine, we can upscale later. I'm going to show it to you. This is free. You can generate up to 1,000 images a day, I believe, without having a premium account. This is using by default Stable Diffusion 1.5, which is the an engine that has been trained on a bunch of images, I suppose. There's also Stable Diffusion 2.1, which seems to be more geared towards photographic images of faces, etc., things like that. Don't take my word for it. It's just what I have perceived it to be. Then there is DALL-E 2. If I click that, it will ask me to pay. That's a premium one. And then there is Playground's own one, which I haven't explored much. Just to get started, there is a prompt box here, and you can basically just type what it is that you would like. So I'm going to try, just to demonstrate, a record cover with abstract artwork suitable for an experimental electronic music album in black and white. Let's see what happens when I click generate here. It takes a few moments for your image to be generated. Let's click again. Your images will be stored so you can look at them later. Yeah, so you get some abstract cover art. You can try and change your prompt a bit if you want to get some other results. And also if you want a bit of help on the way in terms of style, there is this drop-down menu under filter where you can choose one of these art styles. I get the impression that a lot of it is geared towards creating concept art and things like that for gaming industry and stuff. But let's just do this ethereal low poly. We keep the same prompt, but now you can see here, here's the prompt. It starts off with what we have written, and then it has added its own little tags there. I'm just going to remove the just to see if that makes any difference. Every time you click generate, it's going to create a unique image, even though if you don't change the prompt. These ones, even though I've just done the low poly thing, didn't really have much of an effect for some reason. Let me just simplify the prompt. Record cover, comma, abstract, gosh, I can't type today. Abstract, electronic music, minimalistic, black and white. And then it's adding these additional points because we have chosen the low poly setting. Very minimal, aren't they? That's a bit different. Generative. Let's see if that makes it even more different. Let's just try a different art style to see what we get. Lush illumination, I wonder what that will generate. They're all very similar. I don't know why that is. Anyway, I think that gives you an idea of how it works. You can then, oh, that one generated some sort of error. If you click up here and click on profile, you will get to your back catalog of artwork. You can see here I've generated a bunch of other ones in the past. Back to these ones again. But let's go to the create section here. If you click up here, you get back to this. You can use a reference image, and that's what I did for if we start with the record cover, so I had taken this picture just of Pinterest. I don't have the rights to this image, but I'm just using it as a reference, and there is this image to image thing here. And then I came up with a prompt. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was hands swimming under, like in a coral reef. A sequence of images showing hands swimming in a coral reef. And we use this as our reference image now, and let's see what happens when we click generate. You can see it's sort of borrowing the features from this image to generate our image. And here you can set the image strength. The stronger this is, the more like your original image this is going to be. So let's just try this much stronger. Now we should get something that's resembling this style much better. We should turn off the filter as well, actually. Oh gosh, yes, we turned that up so strongly so it's almost identical to the original. So let's do none. We turn that down. It was 30 from the beginning, I think. Let's set that to 32. There, we're getting something that is fairly similar to the covers that I generated. And I'm going to set it to 1024 by 1024 just to make sure we're getting a square one. And if I make that even looser, it's going to reference this image a lot less. And you can see the grid is sort of disappearing there. 30 seems to work quite well. And let's pretend that the one we're generating now is the one that we want. I'm just going to show you that you can then go up to actions, and there is upscale by 4 times, and that will give you a fairly high resolution image. And you can also do that with the ones in your archive. So if you want, let's say I would want this one. Come on, computer, let me click on something. Oh, there we are. And then you just can go in retrospectively and choose, where is the thing? There, dots here, upscale by ×4. So if I click on that, it takes a moment to upscale this image. And then you can download it and you get a decent resolution size. I'm also going to show you how I did the track titles. Just let's actually cancel that, we don't need that. So we go into generate again, and we take this image, which was the album titles that I just made in Photoshop saying album title and track 1, 2, 3, 4. Bullet, album title, and list of six album tracks. Let's see what that, I can't remember quite what prompt I set. I mean, that's interesting. If I just made it a bit looser and then we say black and white. The looser this is, the less legible titles you're going to get. But if you go too strong, it will almost say track title and track 1, album title, track 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's an interesting way of creating weird typography. And if we go into my archive, as you saw before, the new ones that we've generated, and I have a whole bunch down here, and you can just do that till you find something that you like. And you always have the option to then go in and just fix it in Photoshop after, and just put them together. So what I did, I picked the images that I liked, and then I just based it on the grid that I generated, and I just put in the titles and things that I've generated. Right, that's a little overview of PlaygroundAI. So if you go to chat.openai.com, you will get to ChatGPT, or you can just put ChatGPT into Google and you will get here. And you can again log in with your Google account or whatever unless you want to sign up in another way. And then when we get right in here, you also get your back catalog. With this account, I only just did this, and it was my first go. And I wanted to generate sleeve notes. So the prompt to the chatbot or the ChatGPT was write a paragraph of sleeve notes for an experimental electronic music album called A16 P.5 NIR, recorded by the artist The Fellow Passenger. The album has 6 tracks named The Game, and well, I'm not going to try to read out my track titles because I can't pronounce them. So I'm just going to say track title in the following bit to avoid embarrassment. So this is what ChatGPT gave back to me. Sleeve notes for A16 P.5 NIR by The Fellow Passenger. Welcome to the ethereal soundscape of A16 P.5 NIR, an extraordinary journey into the realm of experimental electronic music, crafted by an enigmatic artist known as The Fellow Passenger. This mesmerizing album unveils the captivating tapestry of sonic exploration, seamlessly blending intricate textures, pulsating rhythms, and haunting melodies across its 6 tracks. A16 P.5 NIR transcends conventional boundaries, beckoning listeners to embrace the uncharted realms of the musical cosmos. The opening track 1, serves as an otherworldly overture, enveloping the listener in a sonic vortex that defies traditional structures. As the album progresses, track 2 emerges, its fragmented beats and distorted harmonies echoing through the corridors of the subconscious. Track 3 follows suit, a hypnotic composition that intertwines glitchy sequences with sublime melodies, creating an atmosphere of dreamlike introspection. As the journey deepens, track 4, I think we are at now, unfurls with an enigmatic blend of pulsating bass lines and intricate synthesizer patterns, casting a spell of bewitching allure. Track 5 resonates with the intricate complexity, its celestial chords and cascading rhythms intertwining to create a symphony of kaleidoscopic dimensions. Closing the album, track 6 invites the listener to surrender to its enchanting ambience, a meditative soundscape that evokes a sense of tranquility amidst the sonic chaos. With A16 P.5 NIR, The Fellow Passenger unveils a work of sonic art that defies convention, inviting listeners to explore the boundless possibilities of electronic music. Embark on this sonic odyssey and allow yourself to be carried away by the ever-shifting landscapes of A16 P.5 NIR. Discover new dimensions, challenge your perception, and immerse yourself in the wondrous world of The Fellow Passenger's musical vision. Well, on one hand, that sounds incredibly pretentious, and there's a lot of repetition in there. And it doesn't sound like sleeve notes to me. It sounds more like a blurb in an article where this album would have been promoted. But fair enough. I still think it's just not that far off of what this album is expressing, which is weird because ChatGPT has obviously not heard it. But maybe it's evidence that I am predictable. Hey, there we are. I think that's all there is to say about the packaging. Now, let's just briefly go through how this project has gone. I think that, well, it's run over time massively. I didn't do it in 6 weeks. I didn't even fulfill all the ambitions. So in the first episode, unless you have heard it, in case you've missed it, I had set out a bunch of things that I wanted to achieve. And I think, well, I did 6 tracks. which I had set out to do. I also have one tempo change, but I didn't do time signature changes or key changes or any of that stuff. My reflection on the album is that I really like the result. I think it's a good sounding album, and I feel I can stand for the tracks and I like the way they sound. I don't entirely believe in the process. I feel like because I set out the process with very specific ambitions, I think some of that was holding me back from progressing. I feel there were certain sections like the planning stage and the second stage where I spent a lot of time doing sound design. I think I could have done those stages. I should have spent less time on them up front. I could just sort of thought about it, but I ended up doing a lot of the sound design as I was progressing, depending on what the track needed, because I think I've developed my sound design skills to a degree that I can fairly quickly come up with potential sounds that I need. So in a way, I think even though I intended to be quite loose with my framework, and I even told myself that this is just going to be something to help me rather than restrain me, I felt it restrained me. And I do not think the 6 weeks was the problem. I think it was a mixture of, obviously life happens and I got busy with other things, but also I think I just got too locked up in this 6 week specific framework. So in a sense, I'm wondering if I could have actually finished this earlier without compromising the quality of the music. I don't know if that was helpful. I am quite fed up with this project, even though I really like the album. I'm quite done with this project and quite keen on moving on to doing other things. And I got a feeling you might be too. But if you sign up to my Patreon, you will be able to grab the album, and now they have got track titles, and the artwork is in there as well. And also, I had to render out the tracks again. So if you downloaded them a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, they will be in mono. Or someone pointed out, like, they are in mono. I actually never checked. I just went in and re-rendered them again in stereo and make sure they were in stereo. But it also means that these tracks are slightly different from the first render because I'm using a lot of random things like expression control, etc. So yeah, so you can have almost two versions of the same album if you want. So thank you for watching. I'm going to call it